everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling something that's pretty massive and honestly a little bit scary to even think about. The multiverse, the idea that there might be more than just our universe. And you all have sent in some really fascinating stuff that we're going to dive into. I have to admit, I'm already feeling a little lost, so thankfully I've got an expert here to help us make sense of it all.
What makes the multiverse so fascinating is that it really forces us to think outside of what we can actually see and what we experience. Like, what if everything that could possibly happen is actually happening somewhere in some other reality?
So basically what we're saying is that everything we know, everything in our universe, all of the stars and galaxies and planets and black holes and everything, might actually just be one tiny little piece of a much bigger picture. And in this bigger picture, there could be countless other universes, each with its own unique set of rules and maybe even different laws of physics, right?
Exactly. It's a huge shift from how we used to think about the universe, as this one self-contained system. And what's really interesting is that with all the advancements in physics and cosmology, it's starting to look like the multiverse might not just be science fiction anymore.
Okay, but if we can't even see these other universes, how can scientists even begin to study them? I mean, isn't it all just speculation at this point?
Well, you're right. We can't directly observe other universes, at least not with the technology we have now. They exist beyond what we call the observable universe, which is basically the part of the cosmos that we can actually detect. But scientists are getting creative. They're looking for clues, for subtle hints that might point to something bigger than what we currently understand.
Ah, so it's kind of like a detective searching for clues at a crime scene, right? They might not have seen the crime happen, but they can figure out what happened by looking at the evidence that's left behind.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. One thing scientists are looking at is the cosmic microwave background. It's like this faint afterglow of the Big Bang that's spread out through all of space. And just imagine, what if we found strange patterns or anomalies in this afterglow? Like cosmic bruises left behind from our universe bumping into another one way back in the past.
Wait, hold on. You're saying our universe might have actually collided with another universe? That sounds like something straight out of a comic book.
I know, right? It might sound crazy, but some multiverse theories actually predict that these kinds of collisions could happen. And if they did, they could have left behind traces, like imprints on space-time. So scientists are using some pretty amazing telescopes and techniques to try to find those traces.
Okay, I'm starting to see how the multiverse is more than just some wild idea. There's actual science going on here.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just about looking for these cosmic bruises. There's also string theory, which is a pretty complex area of physics. But one of the things it suggests is that there might be more dimensions than the ones we experience every day.
Wait, extra dimensions. I'm
Yeah.
starting to picture some kind of portal opening up in my living room.
Uh-huh. Well, not quite like that. Think of it this way. Imagine you see a garden hose from far away. It looks like a line, right? One-dimensional. But as you get closer, you see it also has a circumference. So it's actually two-dimensional. Some physicists think our universe might be kind of like that hose,
Yeah.
with extra dimensions that are curled up so small we can't see them. And string theory suggests that these extra dimensions could be where other universes exist.
Whoa, so we could be surrounded by other universes and not even know it.
That's the idea. And you know what? This is just the beginning. Now let's talk about another really mind-blowing aspect of the multiverse. The idea of bubble universes.
Oh, yeah, the champagne analogy, right. I remember reading about that, and it's such a cool image. All these bubbles in a glass of champagne, each bubble a different universe. But how does that actually work? Is there like a giant cosmic champagne bottle out there or something?
Well, not a literal bottle, of course, but the analogy helps to picture what's called eternal inflation. This theory says that our universe isn't a one-time thing. It's part of this ever-expanding multiverse where new universes are constantly being created, like bubbles popping up. And each one of these universes starts with its own Big Bang and then grows and evolves from there.
So basically, universes are just popping into existence all the time, like bubbles in a never-ending glass of champagne. That's crazy. Does that mean universes can also, die or disappear?
That's a great question, and it's something scientists are still trying to figure out. If universes are being born, it makes you wonder if they can also, die. And if they do, what happens then? Do they collapse? Or maybe merge with other universes?
And could some universes be, more stable or longer lasting than others?
Those are great questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. Asking these questions and trying to find the answers is what pushes science forward and helps us to understand more about the universe, even if the answers seem really strange at first.
It's like we're explorers charting a new frontier, and each discovery just leads to even more mind-blowing questions.
Exactly. And just when you think you've kind of grasped the idea of bubble universes, we run into another concept that's even more mind-bending: parallel universes. But before we go down that rabbit hole, let's take a moment to think about what we've talked about so far. What really stands out to you about these different theories?
Honestly, it's just the sheer scale of it all. It's one thing to say the universe is vast, but to think that our entire universe might just be one tiny speck in a much, much larger structure, it's awe-inspiring, but also kind of
I
terrifying.
get that feeling. It definitely changes your perspective, but, it also opens up so many possibilities.
Well, speaking of possibilities, let's talk about this parallel universes. I have a feeling things are about to get even weirder.
Oh, yeah. Get ready, because we're about to step into the world of quantum mechanics.
Okay, deep breath, lead the way.
Okay, so parallel universes. Now, to really understand this, we're going to have to talk about quantum mechanics, which is all about how things work at the tiniest levels, like atoms and even smaller. And quantum mechanics, let's just say it can get pretty weird.
Oh yeah, even without multiple universes, quantum mechanics is already pretty mind-blowing. Particles being in multiple states at the same time, that spooky action at a distance thing, it's enough to make your head spin.
Right. And that's where the idea of parallel universes comes in. It's based on one of the most, let's see, interesting interpretations of quantum mechanics. It's called the many worlds interpretation. So basically, every time a measurement is made at the quantum level, like figuring out which way an electron is spinning, the universe doesn't just choose one outcome. Instead, it splits, and each possible outcome gets its own timeline, its own universe.
Hold on, so it's not that the electron is either spinning up or down, but both things actually happen, just in different universes that branch off from that point?
Exactly. Think about that Schrodinger's cat thought experiment. The one where the cat is both alive and dead until you open the box? Well, the many worlds interpretation says that when you open that box, you're not just finding out if the cat's alive or dead, you're actually splitting the universe into one where it's alive and one where it's not.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see where this goes.
Hmm.
If every single tiny measurement at the quantum level creates a new universe, that means there must be like a crazy number of universes out there, right? Maybe even an infinite number.
That's the implication of the many worlds interpretation, yeah. And it gets even wilder when you realize that these quantum events aren't just happening in labs. They're happening everywhere, all the time, in your body, in the air, in the stars, constantly.
So does that mean like there are tons of versions of me out there, each one slightly different based on some tiny random quantum event? Like there's a universe where I tripped this morning and spilled coffee all over myself.
It's a pretty mind-blowing thought, isn't it? And it really makes you question, like, what does it mean to be you? Do we have free will if every possible outcome is happening somewhere? And does any of it even matter if there are infinite versions of everything?
I have to admit, that's something I've been thinking about a lot during this deep dive. If the multiverse is real, it's kind of hard not to feel a little insignificant, like my choices don't really make a difference in the grand scheme of things.
I understand that feeling. It's natural to feel that way when you're confronted with something so vast. But think about it this way. Even in a multiverse with infinite possibilities, our experiences are still real, Our relationships, the things we go through, good and bad, those things shape who we are and make this universe, the one we're in, unique.
So instead of feeling overwhelmed by it all, maybe we should focus on appreciating what we have here and now, while still acknowledging that there could be so much more out there.
Exactly. Whether the multiverse exists or not, it reminds us that our universe, this one, is just one of many possibilities. And by studying it, maybe, just maybe, we can find clues that point us towards those other possibilities.
Yeah, it's like the multiverse is this giant mirror, reflecting back not only the vastness of everything, but also how special and unique our own little corner of reality is.
I like that. But, even though the many worlds interpretation is really fascinating, not every scientist buys into it. Some argue that it's more of a philosophical idea than a scientific theory that can be tested.
I can see that. It's one thing to imagine all these alternate realities, but how do you actually prove they exist?
That's the big challenge, right? The very nature of parallel universes, if they are out there, makes them really, really hard to observe. But just because something is hard to prove doesn't mean we shouldn't try, right?
So if we can't directly observe them, how are scientists trying to figure this out? Are they basically just stuck saying, well, guess we'll never know?
Definitely not. Scientists are super creative, and they're always coming up with ways to test their theories, even the really out there ones. One approach is to look for little inconsistencies or anomalies in our own universe. Glitches in the matrix that might hint at the influence of other universes.
Like those cosmic bruises we talked about earlier in the cosmic microwave background.
Exactly. Those are one example.
Mm.
But there are other things scientists are looking for too, like tiny variations in the fundamental constants of nature, or maybe slight deviations in the laws of physics as we understand them.
So it's like a giant cosmic puzzle with scientists trying to find all the pieces from different places to see if the multiverse picture fits.
That's a great way to put it. We might never have absolute proof, but searching for those pieces and pushing the boundaries of what we know, that's what science is all about. And that's how we make new discoveries.
It reminds us that science is a journey, not just about finding the answer. And even if we never get all the answers, what we learn along the way can change how we understand the universe and our place in it.
Absolutely. And speaking of new discoveries, there's another interesting theory we should talk about. The holographic principle. This one offers a whole different perspective on the multiverse.
Okay, now you're really testing my brain power. Holographic universes. What in the world is that all about?
Well, think about a hologram. It's a flat, two-dimensional image, but it looks like a three-dimensional object, right?
Yeah.
The holographic principle suggests that our universe might be similar to that, a 3D projection of information that's actually encoded on some faraway 2D surface.
Wait, so you're saying that our reality, everything we see and experience, might just be a projection, like a cosmic illusion?
It's a pretty radical idea, I know, but some physicists are taking it seriously, especially those who are working on quantum gravity, which is about trying to combine quantum mechanics and general relativity.
Okay, my brain is officially overloaded. Bubble universes, parallel worlds, and now holographic universes. It's just too much.
Uh-huh. I know, it's a lot to process. But before we dive too deep into that, let's take a step back for a minute and look at the bigger picture.
Good idea. I need a minute to catch my breath and try to wrap my head around all of this.
Take your time. We're talking about some of the biggest and most mind-blowing ideas in science. So it's okay to feel a little overwhelmed.
I guess that's part of what makes it so exciting, right? The universe, and maybe the multiverse, is full of mysteries, and it's up to us to figure them out.
Exactly. And it's that quest for knowledge, that constant drive to understand more, that keeps science moving forward and helps us push the boundaries of what's possible.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll find a way to actually see the multiverse, to peek into those other realities. It would be the ultimate discovery.
Wouldn't it be amazing? But until then, we can keep exploring the wonders of our own universe, knowing that even here, there's still so much left to discover. But hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have a lot to unpack about what the multiverse could mean for how we understand reality itself.
All right, I'm ready for the next mind-blowing revelation. Okay, so, wow. Bubble universes, parallel worlds, even this crazy holographic principle. It's a lot to take in. I bet our listeners are feeling like their heads are about to explode.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming for sure. But with all these crazy ideas and mind-bending theories, I think we should ask, what does this all mean? What are the implications of the multiverse? What does it tell us about, well, reality itself and our place in it all?
That's been on my mind this whole time. If there really are infinite universes out there, does that mean, like, our universe and our lives are less important?
It's a natural question to ask, and it's tough to answer. Some people might say that if there are endless possibilities, then nothing really matters.
Yeah.
Right? Because everything that could happen is already happening somewhere.
Yeah, I can see how that could make you feel pretty insignificant, like your choices don't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
But I think there's another way to look at it. Imagine like a giant library with an infinite number of books. Each book is a universe, and each page is a moment in time. Now, in that library, there might be tons of stories similar to ours, maybe even some that are exactly the same.
So you're saying, like, there could be other versions of me out there living lives that are pretty much identical to mine?
It's possible. But here's the thing. Even if there are countless variations of our story, the journey we're on, our experiences, our relationships, all of that, it still matters in this universe.
It's like, even though there are millions of copies of a book, the one you're holding in your hands, the one you're reading, that's the one that has meaning to you.
Right. And you know what? The idea of the multiverse might actually make life even more special. Think about it. If there are countless universes where life never even started or where it evolved completely differently, the fact that we're here, thinking about this stuff is even more amazing.
It's like winning the cosmic lottery, beating all the odds to exist in a universe where life can flourish and evolve. A universe where we can wonder about all of this.
Exactly. It makes you appreciate the beauty and wonder of our own universe, even as we think about all the other possibilities.
So instead of feeling small and insignificant, maybe the multiverse should make us feel even more grateful for what we have, right? Like life is a precious thing.
I think so. And it's not just about life. The multiverse makes us question everything we thought we knew about reality itself. Like, what if the laws of physics, the rules that govern our universe, are just one set of rules out of many? What if in another universe, time runs backward, or gravity pushes things apart instead of pulling them together?
Whoa, that's crazy to think about, the very fabric of reality being different in other universes. It make you wonder, what's the most surprising thing we would find if we could actually see into one of those other universes?
Oh man, that's a question I think about a lot. Would we find beings made of pure energy? Civilizations that have figured out how to use those extra dimensions? Universes where the laws of physics are so bizarre that we can't even comprehend them?
Or maybe a universe that's almost exactly like ours, except for one tiny little difference that changed everything, like a cosmic butterfly effect, you know?
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. It makes you think about cause and effect,
Hmm.
how even the smallest things can lead to huge changes. It shows how delicate the balance is, how universes evolve and change over time.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew about how things work.
And that's what's so cool about the multiverse, right?
Hmm.
It pushes us to think beyond what we know, to use our imagination, and to be open to the mystery of all the things we don't understand yet.
Well, to all our listeners out there who have been on this mind-bending journey with us through the multiverse, here's what we want you to remember. Keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and keep your minds open to all the possibilities. Who knows what's waiting to be discovered?
The universe, or maybe even the multiverse, is full of surprises, and we can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep looking up and keep wondering.